All right. Welcome back. It's been a long time. It's been weeks, but we are back here at Ura Lumis, running through what's happened so far in like the first half of the semester. We got introduced to our characters, who I will point us out here. I'll call each of you guys out, and you just tell us who you are and what character you play. Let's start with alphabetical order. Athera.
Every time.
Every
Can we
time.
reverse alphabetical order?
Sure. Reverse alphabetical order. Who plays Rosaris? Who are you?
Gotcha.
Hi, I play Rosaries. What are we supposed to say?
Just tell us who you are and then who your character is.
I'm Zach. I play Rosaries. He's the half-elf paladin. Next.
Sure, Marcel.
Hey, I'm Juan. I'm a player and DM, but I'm a player. My character is Marcel. He's a Hexblade Warlock, and he's just enjoying his life.
Hell yeah. Lucian. Double thumbs up from Nick. Nick plays Lucian. He is our party wizard. You know, everybody needs a resident nerd in their group. Otherwise, how are you going to get any stuff done? What about Leo?
I just spectate. Honestly.
Yeah, David's not even here. He's not real.
Also, I don't know how to erase what I put on here.
Well,
You can just click on it and hit backspace on it.
oh my gosh.
Who wrote daddy?
Who
did
did
that?
Oh,
Okay.
that's me. I'm sorry. I thought it'd be really funny for the walls.
But David, tell us about Leo. What's his race, his class, and maybe a little bit about his personality?
He is a hat or cleric that everyone thinks is really nice.
Yes.
Keyword think.
We will hear no arguments against that.
Yep.
Gwen.
I'm Izzy. I play Gwen. She's a Dragonborn Ranger, and she's probably the coolest one in the school.
Fair
I
enough.
think you need it.
Sorry.
And Athera.
My name is Natalie. I play Athera. She's a wood elf druid. Little socially awkward. Likes flowers.
Who doesn't? Let's be real here. For sure. So, the quick summary of where the story has taken us to this point is the six of you, along with one other, who I will explain here in a second, Kieran, a human, kind of like a little redheaded, fox-like guy. He's very sleek and kind of charming at times, but he's all often disappearing and going his own way and not telling anybody where he's at. You guys get grouped together as you arrive at this adventuring academy, Ura Lumis. It is essentially a college in a fantasy world where they teach you how to adventure and how to essentially perform the core classes of D&D, whether it be a fighter or a wizard or a paladin, whatever you want to be. In doing so, you guys got partied together with the seven of you. We did a scavenger hunt in which you guys fought the nerds who tried to steal your homework, came out on top, and won that. There was a big event called the Party Games where you guys were given different challenges that were specifically for your group to work on whatever flaws you might have, in which case you guys had some issues with party cohesiveness, fighting with each other and not liking each other, but eventually came out on top, met a lot of the upperclassmen, met a lot of your fellow first years, and then at the end had a mock combat with the second top first year group, in which a lot of y'all's friends were in that. We had some romances happen in the meantime. We had some friendships sort of sizzle and appear or start faltering. It was an interesting time, the entire first 9 weeks of school, which I assume is the same for anyone who, you know, first goes to college or a new school. So, after that, we get into the rest of the semester, which I don't think we need to necessarily spend a ton of time role-playing out, because you guys have planned out the stuff for your characters, and I have some responses for those. But does anyone want to volunteer to go first to knock out some of your downtime activities until the next semester starts?
Brent, you have a giant list. You do it.
Come on, man.
Wait.
Okay. All right, guys. I
All
don't know how to start this.
I'll give you I'll give you something to follow here. Starting from immediately after the party games ends, when you guys beat the other group, you are revered around campus, you're congratulated by your upperclassmen, your fellow first years sort of like, I don't want to say look up to you guys. Some of them might be a little salty. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but everyone's like, hey, that's the group that stood out from the first years. So you kind of have brought attention to yourself. That was the first 9 weeks, and now we are covering the second 9 weeks of the first semester of classes. What does Gwen do? What does she spend her time doing? You don't have to go super in depth and into detail, but just give us an overview of like how she spends her time, and then as much detail as you want to add to it.
Well, with the newfound attention, she definitely wants to try to peddle her arrows some more to make
For
money.
sure. I'm gonna leave this up to some rolls really quick.
Okay.
The
sure.
first one, I'm gonna let you make a persuasion check with advantage to try to like garner an audience and find a clientele base to sell arrows to.
I'm scared, but okay. Okay, first was 16.
That's not bad.
16.
16, 16. Okay. So what we're gonna do is for every number that you hit above 8, that is how many people that you would get to buy arrows from you. So you got a 16, so that's 8. Roll me 8d6. And that's how much gold
Okay.
you've made just in some of your downtime.
Okay. 22.
22 gold in your pocket. And honestly,
Nice.
I know in normal D&D that doesn't sound too bad, but if I didn't say it before, this is not normal D&D. The economy is in shambles. This stuff is terrible. A gold is
You're
worth
rich.
like $100. So
No,
you've made
you're
over
loaded.
2,000 just from
Hell
selling
yeah,
arrows.
dude.
So nothing to sneeze at, that's for sure.
Yeah. I also practice cooking in preparation for the next semester.
For sure.
Let's see. I also talked to Thatch to help him prep me for my goblin language class.
Yeah.
I hang out with people like Delphina, Celia, Beatrice, Marball, Relaris, maybe Taz.
Yeah. So for this, I actually thought that it would be really, really cool if this group specifically that you're trying to hang out with, Blitzball would be a fun activity for you guys to do together.
That's what I wanted.
That's what you want. So I will say that at some point in this 9 weeks, whenever you would like to put it, you gather up most of these people. Celia probably doesn't want to really play sports. Delphina's down for it for sure. Beatrice, obviously. Thatch is interested, but he's a little confused on what he's going to do since he's so small. But like Merble, Taz definitely plays. Rolaris is kind of hard to find. But then John Luke and a couple other upperclassmen from like the fighter and barbarian classes. They come in and you guys play blitzball, which is essentially just a mixture between football and soccer.
All right. I gotta write this name down before I forget it again.
AKA just rugby.
It's pretty similar to rugby.
Okay.
Really?
I'm still a charity case for Jean-Luc, considering I'm an orphan, so he better play with me
Oh yeah.
and maybe give me more stuff.
Where the fuck is Zach?
Right
He's
here.
He's right there.
Yeah,
I see him on my...
You talking about other Zach?
Gosh.
See,
Someone in chat said you do the headstand and you carry the ball with your feet. I love that. You're incredibly intelligent.
Tail.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't forget tail. Use the tail.
Yeah, you can use your tail to your advantage.
Other than that, I pretty much just like do my own thing, talk to Professor Ranth about like Aorsha and stuff for Ranger studies,
Mhm.
and I prep like questions for the Dragonborn students I want to talk to, and I also do the training stuff with Rosaries, however you say
Yeah.
your name, because it's been so long.
Randy.
So-
It's Randy.
So to give you some information as we jump back in, you said that you talked to Professor Ranth about Eorsha and you want to get some more information about it because you're kind of from the area, but you didn't really ever spend much time in like the big kingdoms, and you know that she's from there. Is there anything specific that you're wanting to learn about it?
Damn, I didn't think about that. So not off the top of my head, but I guess maybe what different cultures might be like where she's from.
Yeah. The biggest thing that she says that stands out is her city that she was from was the head of the like Rangers Guild of Eorsha, which is a huge deal. Like her dad is a big part in it. She was originally going to go do that before she got offered the position here, but that is like the top of the line heroes in Eorsha because it's a huge magical jungle and it's very hard to traverse. So those are the people who go out and protect people, make deliveries between big cities and stuff like that. They take care of a bunch of the like wild magical animals that are dangerous. So that's the big thing for her. She also was from a city where it was entirely built up in the trees. So it was like
That's cool.
50 to 60 feet off the ground. Obviously archery is a big thing there. That's why she's such a big archer. And she just gives you some like other cool details about like this very wood elven culture. They're very nice to each other, helpful. It's a very community-oriented place. But definitely a little different than here, where it's more medieval Europe. That is kind of a almost more... I don't want to rip off Tolkien, but almost kind of like Hobbit-esque, where like the people enjoy their lives, and despite Eorsha being so dangerous, it's a very community-oriented place.
Word.
Yeah, it's still Shire. Looking.
Yeah.
Shit.
The other one that you said that you were going to find the names of all the Dragonborn students. So I have a little list for you, and I'll give it to you slow so you can write it down. Obviously,
Well, you gave it to me in my little chat.
yes, I did. That is right. I'll let you list those out, and I will tell you about each of these people.
Okay. Beatrice Wren.
Beatrice Wren, fan favorite. She is a first year, tall, white, very athletic Dragonborn. She is super bubbly. She is so fun to be around, and everybody loves hanging out with her. She's a great time. If you wanted to ask her about where she's from, she would tell you that she is from, I believe, a place called Orista, Orista. It is out kind of near Stonewall, which is like the nearby kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah, you know Beatrice pretty well, so I won't have to give you too much information here, but
Word.
she's a good time.
Alright, next one's Breva Dale or Breva. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Brianna, come on.
Cool. Very quick description of Breva. Imagine in high school the like rich, popular, pretty girl that is mean to everyone. That's her. Easy description. Breva is from the city of Dragon's Perch in Moradon, which is in Wisteria, in this nation that we're in. It's just further north. But I will let you know that you probably would not like her after your first interaction. She's very snooty. She's very looks down at people. She's a third year. Not very nice.
I think we met her once.
Yes, at the club meeting session. But even then, you guys didn't get to know her very well. Talking to her one-on-one, this was just like the confirming, wow, that's maybe not a person I want to spend a lot of time with.
All right. Next one is this. You wanted me to say this one, Lekrasol Myth.
Lekrasol Myth. Yep, I gave this to you as an option. I would absolutely assume that you would go up to Lekrasol, being in your ranger classes, and ask them about them being a Dragonborn, to which they would respond with that they are not. They are a lizard.
I'm like, damn, sorry.
Lizard. Get it right.
Yeah.
I'll still ask him the questions, like, anyways, not to leave him out.
Sure. Let me look up where they are from really quick. Lecrosol myth is from Lake Rena in Bosk, which is, again, in this nation that we're in, so it's not too far away, but this is more off to the east, northeast, I want to say. Yeah, she's from a lizard folk clan out by this lake, Lake Rena. Lecrosol is very interesting. They're always smiling, but they like don't understand sarcasm or joke. So if you say something sarcastic, they'll just sit there and like blink at you and stare at you. Still smiling.
Okay. What a cutie.
Anybody else that you looked into?
Talon Lorex?
Talon stuck out to you, and you know about her because she is not a dragonborn. However, she has a pet dragon, in quotation marks. You go talk to her at one point, probably after her and Marcel have their like study group. She introduces you to her pet pseudo dragon, baby dragon, you're not really sure, Lemmy. She's a little more soft spoken. She's very nice though. Her and Marcel hang out a lot and study together. But she tells you that she is, I believe she's also from Dragons. Yeah, she's also from Dragon's Perch, but she is not a dragon. But Lemmy is.
That's interesting.
Hi, Gwen.
Marcel's just
Hi,
walking by in the
Marcel.
background.
It's the best study day ever.
And then Relaris.
Yeah.
Or however you say his name.
Relaris.
All right.
Yeah, to let you know, you've already talked to Relaris before, but giving you a bit more information about him. He is a 4th year, which at this point, if you guys haven't already figured it out, 4th years are a little bit of a unique situation at the school because the school is only 3 years, but some students are asked to stay on for a 4th year. Relaris is one of those. They are known as a paragon. There is typically only one of each class, or at least mainly in that class, and they're always kept in parties unless it's like a special case. So he and his party were kept as paragons, and he is a monk. Relaris tells you that he is from a place called Mount Harwill, which is way north of here. It's up in like the northern end of Septenum, which is the country that's like right up against Wisteria. So it's like quite a travel. It would take you guys a while to get there. But that's where he's from. He is from a place called Mount Harwill. There's a monk monastery there that his dad works at, and that's what inspired him to become a monk. He tells you all of this because he's very friendly and you guys sort of have a little rapport with each other. But he doesn't go into too much detail, but he does say that there are a lot of things regarding at least his Dragonborn culture there. He doesn't know if that really ties in with you too much, but it would be interesting for you to look into it.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else for Gwen, or is that kind of the semester?
Think that's pretty much it.
Nice. All right. Someone want to volunteer to go next, or am I going to roll for it?
I
Roll.
can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Please, DM, make me do it. I want to do it. I want to
All right,
do it.
Marcel.
Ah, he got me.
I volunteered like 50 times.
You have to go over your list 50 times now.
Okay.
Please don't. I'm so kidding.
I was just about to say drunk 50 times. Okay.
Oh boy.
This is going to be fun.
After the battle, after like the victory, he will start a raging party for the glory of the group awesomeness. Then get blackout drunk. Like really drunk. So drunk that he forgets his race drunk. He will be stumbling around campus saying, guys, I'm an orc. And I can handle it. I can go down. I use my orc ability to get back 1 HP. And as he walks around, of course, this will be seen as the ravings of a drunk half elf. That will be his first, order of business. His second one is organizing the Tri-Prince Alliance first meeting of discussions of important tasks. It will be a very casual yet refined meeting of well-minded individuals. And also Marcel. Marcel allowed the princess to be the first one to taste the concoction so that he'd been brewing in his room.
So,
A lot.
I was going to tell you, ironically enough, you know the last names of the other princes. You know of Sir Luke, who you've already met, and Alistrad. The Alistrad family, one of them is in your class, Ravik Alistrad. Would you like to talk to him or just go up to him and be like, hey, you're invited to this meeting?
Let's just like drag him. Hey, you're part of this meeting. Remember, you have to say the secret password to enter. Marcel.
He gives you a smile and a thumbs up, and he's like, sure, man. When this meeting comes around, Sir John Luke comes in, he, being his boisterous, loud self, immediately, like, starts exclaiming that this is the best alcohol he's ever tasted, despite, like, spitting it out after drinking it. And then Ravik comes in, and he's, like, this very nice, charming, first-year warlock with you. But he looks at you and figures out, like, what this meeting's about, and he tells you, hey, man, this seems like you're trying to organize the princes of, like, the 3 cities of Valenrun, and that's actually my older brother, who is here, but I'll gladly be a part of this.
And I just want to bring you here because you seem a lot easier, because I met you, and I met him, so might as well grab out to you, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, hey, checks out for me. He gives you a fist bump, drinks the concoction that you've made, loves it, and offers to buy the first keg that you make.
Yes, you'd be like, this is very special keg. Remember, it's the first edition. It slowly gives to him.
Yeah, I'll say he
There's
gives
also
you...
a signature of Marcel.
It's phenomenal. He gives you 5 gold for it, so you can add that to your stuff. And if you would like, you could probably do kind of like Gwen did and use your ability to make stuff to make money on campus.
Sure. I'll do that. It'll definitely be like, this is some of Ant Keg brand Marcel top shelf first edition brandy. If
Sure.
you really want it, you have to want it. Trust me, it's the best.
I'll give you the same sort of stipulations. Go ahead, give me a persuasion check with advantage to see how many people you can garner.
Persuasion?
Yes.
Advantage. Nat 20. So I got 26.
26.
Yep.
Oh god. Give me... I might regret this, but I'm gonna say... Give me 18d6. And then we're going to cut that, not necessarily in half, but we're definitely going to round down a lot because you have to buy the materials to make this stuff.
Yeah. 18?
Yes, 18d6. And then we'll do some math. We'll cut it in half and then round it up by a lot.
57.
57s, that's going to be 28 and a half. Let's say that you make like 35 gold. You
Good.
sell about 7 kegs worth, and then you also manage to like sell individual drinks to people at these parties that you're throwing, and it's a good time. Marcel's making a name for himself as the campus alcoholic.
Wait, what?
Continuing on, what else you got planned for your downtime?
Oh, yeah. Then you start getting to know Cal. You know, maybe do some, or just talk to each other about warlock stuff outside of studying because I guess boring, really boring, like extremely boring.
Yeah.
And then we got to see Gwen for some reason, and we're like, Gwen.
Is there anything specific you're wanting to learn about Talon, or are you just kind of like hanging out with them, establishing a relationship?
Yeah, he just wants to know like where she's from, like how her family is doing.
Yeah. So she's from a relatively like normal family. She's got a dad, a mom, a little sister. She is from Dragon's Perch in Moradon, which is north and west of where you guys are, like towards the other end of Wisteria. but she's very like happy to hang out. She's a lot more chill than you are, so like when you invite her to like parties and stuff like that, she might not join every time, but she's very much a like, hey, I'll sit down at a cafe and hang out
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
Marcel always gives the invitation, but never pushes upon her.
For sure.
And for my final one, it would be him really digging deep into Jock, his awesome hexblade sword.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you, what are you looking for when you start digging in to your sword? Because there are two main things that I will let you look into. I'll give you advantage on one of them, and the other one you'll roll flat. You can either look into and research the history of the sword and like where it came from, why it's important in your family, and stuff like that, outside of just what your family says. And then if you want to investigate like the magical properties of it, which one would you prioritize?
I think he was because of what's going on. I think he wanted to look into the history of it.
Sure.
That might be a little more important at the very moment.
Mm-hmm.
What do you wish me to roll?
Give me a history check with advantage.
All right. Of course, Marcel's very book smart. That's like his character trait. So if he gets a really good roll, it's because obvious.
Yeah. If he gets a bad roll, it's because the dice suck.
He got nat 20.
2 in a row, right?
Two in a row.
I got to honor in
Marcel's
that
having
20.
a great day.
So you said the history, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the thing that sticks out to you the most that is so strange is you start delving into the history of like the sword and Terra's weight, your family, House Antioch, the whole shebang. The bullet point version of this is Terra's weight was founded in a civil war between Valenrun and Ilium, or at least at this time Ilium had a different name, but you make the connections. The person who you are like descendant from that made this royal family, her name was Terra. That's why it's called Terra's weight. But the weird thing is this sword doesn't seem to have any connection to her. Yet it is a relic of your family. So it seems like the piece that you get is this was a relic from your family from before her when she became an important figure. You lose the trail a little bit, even on a nat 20. Like there's just not really a connection to be made here, just reading books about it. But you kind of lose the trail after tracing the sword back to Valenrun itself. That seems to be where it came from. You could potentially look into it more, but you feel like you're going to have to actually go to Valenrun to find out some more information about that. Which, if you wanted to do over the break, I guess you could, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah.
Second, you wanted to do the magical properties of the sword too, right?
Yeah.
Cool. That'll just be a flat Arcana check.
All right. And that is a flat 10.
Flat 10. After experimenting around a little bit, the best way that you're able to understand it is the sword has a couple of innate properties that you are toying with and learning about as you practice with the sword, using it as a spellcasting focus. The main ability that seems to really accentuate is the ability to like hold and release energy. So I will let you know that you have the ability to cast absorb elements a limited number of times per day. Through your sword, not using spell slots.
Okay.
Which I believe the description is already on the magic item, if you want to look at that, but that's the main thing you're able to find out.
Yeah, and that's my checklist.
Nice. All right, we got Gwen and we got Marcel. Who's next? I'm gonna roll a d4 to decide if no one's volunteering. All right, Athera, Leo, Lucian, Rosaries. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's a 2. That's Leo,
Hey.
baby.
Knew it. I fucking knew it every time this happened.
I'm just so excited to hear about Leo's break.
Oh, God. Leo doesn't do shit.
What? I know for a fact he does some things.
What does he do? Hold on, let me find this.
You sent it to me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. I gotta look right now.
I'm just gonna pull up the picture. This is what Leo does.
Wait.
Oh,
That's crazy.
we can't
Literally.
show on the stream, man. We can...
She's
Yes.
got nice teeth.
Get away.
She
Put it away.
got nice teeth.
But no, I think you definitely sent me like a couple of very important things that Leo spends his time doing. Even if you want to give us just an overview, like I said before, you don't have to go crazy into detail, but like you got a whole like 8 or 9 weeks here that you just started a relationship. What's happening? What's going on? Leos are like, we're living vicariously through you because you're the only one that started dating someone.
True. Hold on. I know I going to say that. Let's see. It's been like, how long has it been since we played? A month?
It's been a
Over.
while.
I feel like
It's in the spotlight planning tab.
Please, give
At the
us a
bottom of
second.
it.
This might take us a minute.
Yep. Okay. So I think in the downtime, Leo spends a lot of time in prayer also. I mean, not just Hildegard. And I think he's just trying to reconnect with Corteus.
Sure.
So he spends a lot of time in prayer in the mornings alone, in high places, so that he feels, I guess, closer to Corteus and during storms and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll say, speaking of high places, one of the places in campus that you would probably find that you would like to spend time in because it's quieter and more chill is in the chapel. Actually, there is a like almost like a sort of bell tower, but there's no bell. It's just a tower that goes up, and then there's like a study room with some prayer like materials in there that you can use. So I'd say that would be a good spot to go. It has a lot of windows you can see out across campus on. It's not incredibly high. It's only like, I guess, 3 stories up, but as far as campus goes, that's one of the higher spots.
That's probably where he'll spend a lot of his time. It's great. He's gonna study some with Lysilda also. And participates in the training for the volunteer hour. He's with Visaris and whoever else is going to this training.
Yeah, which we'll get to that whenever Rosaries gets up. But I will let you know that in spending time with Lysilda, things have simmered down a little bit. They were very tense when we left off because there were some kind of under the surface feelings between her and you started dating Hildegard. But now it's okay. You guys are like, hey, we're just friends. You know, we've established it now. We're running smooth. You and Hildegard are going great. She's happy for you. A little bit of time has passed, so I will let you know with no role needed that, like, no, she's genuinely happy for you and, like, proud that you're dating someone. And, you know, she was a little disappointed that it couldn't be her, but what can you do? Not everybody can win the 10 out of 10 prize that is Leo.
Sure. So mature.
Yeah. Here's the real one, though. Tell me about these dates with Hildegard. What do you guys do? Well, you don't have to tell us everything, but...
So we study together like all of the time. I think for the most part, like when Leo's not in prayer or studying or volunteer hours or anything like that, he is with Hildegard.
Do you guys become that, like, gross couple on campus that you only ever see them together?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, yeah.
Constant PDA, constantly blushing at each other and gushing.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think to an extent. I don't think it's like constant PDA, honestly. But we do spend a ton of time together.
Words.
We go on a ton of dates. I think we were talking, and some of the dates we were going on was like the Magi Garden. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I'll describe that for you.
Perfect.
On campus, out near Baron's Tower, there's this thing called the Magi Garden, which is what he and some of the upperclassmen wizard students sort of tend to. It's where a lot of magical plants come in. Not as much of like alchemical supplies, but it seems like this is something that is purely for aesthetics. Like, it is his little pet project to make a really nice, pretty, well-kept area of campus. There's a lot of glowing, like, alive plants. Like, there's some leaves that you go to touch and then they'll like wrap around your finger. There are a lot of like these little plants that as you touch them, they'll like release these little glowing floating bulbs through the air. A lot of the flowers will like bloom as you walk by and then close up when you leave. It's a very cool small area of campus that you guys go to just to spend a little time, and we'll leave the rest unwritten. Who knows?
One time you go in there and you see Gwen eating like the little glowing balls out of the air.
It's like a dog with bubbles. They keep like biting at them.
That's so great, actually.
Hildegard just like points at Gwen, and you guys walk in a different direction. Gwen never sees you. She does that on her own. She's just by there. She's just by herself. When Gwen needs to de-stress, she goes and like pokes one of these bubbles and then just Pac-Mans it up.
It's the next best thing to meditating.
It's great.
A little something to take the edge off.
Mhm.
Meta eating.
Editating.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Cool.
It's just all time with Hildegard
Yeah.
studying dates. Great.
For sure. Let's tackle whoever's next. Athera, Lucian, and Rosaries. I'm gonna roll a d6. 1 and 2 is
I'll go.
Yeah, I rolled for you anyway. Let's go.
Sure. Okay, so I think that Lucian would be feeling extremely defeated. So when he came to this school, he was definitely the antisocial one, didn't want to deal with anybody. And somehow he keeps getting put in this semi-leadership position where he's planning and strategizing things for the party's things. But then whenever he goes to do his part, he ends up utterly failing. The last few combats are a good example. Like when we did the Battle Royale, he basically went all out and then had to surrender because he had nothing left he could do. Not even a cantrip in his downtime. So I think that he would probably be seeking out Professor Barron and spending a lot of 1v1 time trying to find a way that gets Lucian a little more strength in the magic that he does know and that he is comfortable using. Because that he's a pacifist and he does not care to, cast fireballs and stuff like every other wizard.
Yeah, Baron is a really good resource here. Again, being like such a prevalent and a well-known wizard, you knew about him coming into the school. So getting to spend time with him is really cool for you. In some like one-on-one study time in between like classes and things like that, you maybe swing by his office. You guys actually have probably a really good in-depth conversation where he tells you about magic, especially for wizards, is meant to be a niche. Like you're meant to find the thing that works for you. That's why wizards have different schools of magic that they specialize in. Not every wizard has to be really good at casting fireballs and lightning bolts and like mass amounts of damage. So I'm going to say that in the downtime, will you make me, because you have so much time, an Arcana check with advantage?
I'm not very good at these, but sure.
Not very good at these.
24.
24. It doesn't take much time for you to click with this at all. It's a lot more peaceful and closer to the studying that you're usually doing, but he guides you through the process and he helps you make a ring, actually. It is a very solid but detailed. It's got a lot of unique, intricate carvings through it. And it's got a white gemstone just on the front. Quite small. But he helps you make and enchant this ring that is going to help you focus not on outputting damage and targeting people with like attacking spells and stuff like that, but when you cast spells, specifically those with a spell save, those are going to be a little bit more potent at the expense of those attacking spells. So he's essentially helping you find this niche, and he makes the ring that I believe I've already sent you.
Yep, I have it equipped.
There we go.
I'll come up with a creative name for that one day.
One day. He tells you you can name it. But yes, Professor Barron, this very intelligent and wise, experienced person, it seems like making this sort of ring felt incredibly easy for him, but he guides you through and shows you a little bit about enchanting and the process of that. It's very expensive, and even making this took quite a bit in like gem dust cost, but he said that, the school has a pretty good supply. Like, they don't have to worry about it too much. They're not going to miss it.
I think that with that newfound, I guess, focus, I would spend a lot of time outside of Baron with probably Celia to kind of just perfect. I don't know. I see Celia being somebody I can practice with. She seems a little bit more stronger and smarter than everybody else, if that makes sense. That are in the wizard classes, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to say if you're going to spend some time with Celia, I'll give you some information about her. And if you have any questions, obviously you can ask because you're spending time with her. But basic things you already know. She's a first-year wizard student, but she seems a little more advanced than the rest. And you figure out that is because she is the daughter of Carson Loomis, the director of the school. So to put it in D&D terms, whereas you guys were level like 2 and 3, she was level 5. So she started ahead, but she is now working at the same pace as you guys.
The counterspell definitely made me realize that, I think.
Yeah, the counterspell and the lightning bolt probably gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lightning bolt that almost killed 3 of us.
Yeah.
It almost killed 3 of us, yeah.
That's my bad, guys. I started it.
But no, Celia is this very like goth appearing high elf with long white hair, super bright blue eyes to match her father. She is very, very well read and studied like you. She's very organized. She prefers like the peace and quiet and organization of like reading alone in a tower or a library or something, but she is definitely more practically experienced than you. You've done a lot of reading as well, but she seems to like have grown up around magic so commonly, using it so easily that it is just like second nature. She helps you practice using this ring as a focus and like targeting her. She trusts you enough after you guys talk for a little bit for you to like target her with spells and you guys to practice on each other.
Okay.
So yeah, you have her in your back pocket as well as sort of like a little bit more than a colleague. I don't know if you're really going for friends here, but you guys spend some time together and get to know each other.
It's probably definitely going for friends with her. On the other hand of things, I did want to see Billy and the other 2 boys, not necessarily trying to, get friendly with them, but just stay close to
get
them.
real friendly with them.
Yeah, how friendly we getting?
Join the
Just-
wizard
just-
gang.
I need them to believe just enough that I care, that like if for some reason we needed them, we could use them, or if they're getting
Kids, we need them,
if they're getting too advanced for us, we got to make sure we stay close to their level of ability. Not that they're gonna, but
Sure. I'm gonna leave this up to a die roll to see how well this goes because this is hilarious. Will you give me a deception check?
hey,
Nice.
17.
17? Hey, that's not bad. Yeah. Tell me kind of like exactly how you plan to go about this.
I mean, so kind of as I've always done, I've made a habit to at least sit with them and kind of tolerate their presence, even though they're kind of super elitist for being who they are. So I'd probably just sit with them occasionally, maybe on some lunches or something like that, and just talk with them a little bit.
For sure. I will let you know that especially because you built into this and you did specifically try to mend things with Billy and Nelvin and Simon and make sure that they didn't, like there wasn't any bad blood there. Even with advantage on an insight roll, they got exactly a 17, so you were going to beat that. They fully believe that like you did not join their little wizard squad because you were already placed in this other group, but now that you've kind of like gotten in with them, you've come back to them, and Billy is, of course, this insufferable elitist wizard, but he's like, I knew you'd be coming back. The only person we couldn't get is Celia. Wizards forever, we rule, let's go. I'll also just give you a brief personality update on the others. Billy is the leader here. He is the top dog, as he calls himself. He is an evocation wizard, so like he does have a little bit of skill behind him, but he's definitely an asshole to say the least. Nelvin's not bad. He's kind of got a lot of energy, and he's the butt of a lot of jokes from Billy. He's also the only half-elf and the shortest one in the group. And then there's Simon, who's like tall and awkward. He's this sort of goofy redheaded guy. He is much quieter and much more awkward. But they just kind of follow Billy around, and it seems like Billy definitely leads the group, but he seems worse than Elvin and Simon.
Okay. And then I have two more things I want to do. I want to see Denny at some point. I'm sure that he's been in the room multiple times, and I haven't really talked to him since one of the first 2 days, I think, that we came there. But
Yeah,
hopefully maybe invite him to, I don't know, study a couple times over the course of the downtime and just be near him.
yeah. My question for you will be, do you want to try to get Denny alone specifically, or are you okay with hanging out with him and Sivik? Because Sivik is his best friend that he spends a lot of time with.
I would probably try to do both. I would probably split it evenly as it went through,
Cool.
if possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just nothing hard about it. You hang out with Denny a couple times. You guys are in the room, and he's a sorcerer, so you are like, hey, do you want to go over these like spells together, practice them, practice, somatic components and things like that, which he's all for. He's a very quiet and reserved guy, but with you guys being roommates, eventually he kind of comes out of his shell, talks a little bit more, and he's got a little bit of a sense of humor. I'm not gonna say it's great, but it's there. And he's an interesting one.
Okay.
And then at some point, you guys probably go to the library for like a homework session. Sivik joins, and Sivik is much more charismatic. He's much more out there. He's very, I don't want to say popular. He is trying to be popular, and he's calmed down a lot since school started, but he's still the very like personable person, whereas Denny is perfectly fine being in the background. But these two are basically inseparable. They're very, very close. And you spend some time with them, get to know them a little bit.
That's good. I'd like to keep Denny, at least an acquaintance, if not a little bit more as the time goes. The last thing I want to do is probably spend a little bit of time with some of the people in our little circle, our little group that we were assigned to. And I'd probably go to Rosari specifically. And not knowing that me and Rosari's probably don't have a whole lot in common, I would at least maybe try to spar with him, maybe using the dagger I carry with me that I have no clue how to use.
Yeah,
Letting him just kick my ass a lot.
which we'll definitely get to that when we get to Rosari's sparring session that he's planning. But yeah, I would say you and Denny are in a pseudo friendship kind of area. You don't spend a ton of time together outside of being roommates, but like you're good roommates. You get along well, and there isn't any uncomfortableness between you guys. And he kind of seems to have warmed up to you at this point. All right. With that, I think it's down between two, Athera and Rosari's.
I can go. Athera looks like she's eating.
Go, let's do it. Go. We gotta talk while eating. Go.
I was curious.
What?
Eat.
What are you eating?
They're called giggles.
What?
They're like
Oh, is that like yogurt drops?
no, they're
I
like
feed my sugar
Skittles.
gliders that.
Oh,
You feed them giggles.
yogurt drops?
Yogurt drops, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, elaborate on these giggles.
Yeah, yogurt drop.
They're like, so I can't eat corn, and so I can't do high fructose corn syrup.
Oh.
So these are like candies that use not like sugar that's not have high fructose corn syrup.
We love tummy issues.
Yeah.
I can't relate. I'm just on Izzy's side.
I got the tummy issues, but I still eat whatever the fuck I want, and I regret it later. But
Ain't nothing gonna stop Izzy from enjoying her life.
Mhm.
All right. Speaking
It's all
of,
about now Izzy, not later Izzy. No one likes later Izzy. It's all about now Izzy. And now Izzy wants some tummy aches.
I do have a bit of a tummy ache.
it's tough out here.
And I do not.
I
All
wonder
right.
why.
I wonder.
Zach, what has Rosari's got in store for this semester? I know you have a couple plans for us.
I'll save the training session for last, just because multiple people already said stuff about it. The first thing is, I think he'll want to spend time with Barry, Thatch, Lasilda, and Cilia. On on top of his normal thing with Beatrice and Caleb, mostly doing homework and things like that. He's not the most social, so using homework as an excuse to talk to people. I think specifically I want to connect Kata with Lasilda just because I think that Kata could use a sister sort of friend person, and I think Lasilda could do good for that.
Yeah. I like the idea. I will say that would probably pan out well, but not at first. At first, there would be that initial disconnect that you and Lasilda also had of, hey, she's from the Church of Corteus. Clearly, I don't vibe with that. And we haven't really delved into that too much, but you know why that is, and you kind of assumed that Kata and Lasilda would have that little issue thing there.
Yeah, I think it would be like I wouldn't just put them in a room by themselves. I think I would constantly just invite one or the other to do something and bring along the other one.
Yeah. But yeah, over the course of 9 weeks, I think it'd be easy for them to get onto like a amicable level where they more than tolerate each other. They kind of enjoy each other's presence. You can't really get them to hang out much with each other because at this point, a lot of people have already formed friends. But you get to the point where you could easily invite them places together, and you are their mutual friend.
Yeah, that'll work
For sure.
And then it's just I know Barry and Thatch both have a little bit of a history with like artificing. And since I want to get into smithing, just seeing how like any tips of the trade sort of thing I could get from them.
Absolutely.
Which we don't have to discuss. We could just say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really well thought out. I will even say that after talking to Kata and Barry a little bit, you find out that Barry's mom is an artificer, and she's from a place where there's like a little bit of artificing more than I guess you might be used to. And then Thatch is obviously an artificer, and he's just wild. So between the two of them, you know, they help you out with some of your artificing homework. You actually have a big project coming up for the end of the semester for your smithwork and forging class. They help you prep for that, which I know is another bullet point that you have. But yeah, that's a cool way to spend some time with them.
Speaking of classes, I'll do the smithwork here in a second. I want to get closer with Arihala and Tarada. Specifically, Arihala, I want to do like a research project on like the history of the whatever my oath is. I'm blanking on the name right now.
Yes, that is actually cool. I know you had another thing also set up with the poem. Which one would you like to do first?
We can do the oath first.
Cool. I'm going to say give me a history check with advantage, and Arihala is going to help you. So even if you don't roll very high, there's still going to be like a baseline that you get.
I got a 12.
12.
Oh, no nat 20?
Come on.
It was close, and then it rolled to an 8.
Marcel's just better, I guess. On a 12, you and him, I'm going to say you, Arihala, and Tarada all get into a room at some point. You are talking to both of them. You have this little project that you want to do. They are both willing to help you out, both being, you know, an academic and a paladin. They help you trace it back. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly when this oath started. It's hard to pinpoint when any oath started, really. But you do know that well beyond recent history, like over 1,000 years ago, when Corteus and Verameth had this big fight, Oath of the Watchers, at least from your academic understanding, has a lot to do with like watching out for threats. And it has a history of watching out for foreign threats, like foreign to the earth, so like magical beings and stuff like that, which you don't deal with a lot, but that's where it comes from. It has a tie to Corteus and him fighting Verameth, and you think that that might be one of the things that like brought it about and made it what it is today, but that's the main connection that you see throughout history. It was also used in other places, but like that was the only big one that people can list in history, at least since then.
Yeah, I think the main thing for future is like anytime there's a historical monument about an Oath of the Watcher, I think Rosarius would just kind of look out for it.
For sure.
Like he'll piece it together himself.
Yeah. So yeah, Tarada helps you a lot with that. He helps you look into it, uses a Real as a resource. And then you also have the poem, right?
Yeah. And real quick with Tarada, I'll offer to I know he gave me the shield, but I'll offer to introduce him to the shield's original owner, the guy who saved him and gave it to him.
Yeah.
If he wanted to.
I'll say that he's gonna give a tentative yes. Like if it lines up and he's able to do that, he's down for it.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, tell me about this poem.
So for our viewers and the rest of the players, Shorty wrote a stinking long piece of work, which is like, what is that, 24 pages, called A Forward on Religious Studies, that I read in detail, because I do like reading, actually.
And I like
and there was a poem. Shorty, do you want to read the poem? My voice is not working.
Yeah, I can read it out. Which number is it again?
14.
How many poems are there?
Four. I'm sorry, not 14.
How many are there? There are 30 in the first book. There's also 3 books.
Yeah,
It's like a book of poems?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No. Someone.
Number 4. It is called A Sailor's Tale. It was written sometime between the year 800 and 950, and for context, we are in the year 1228 right now. I'll read it out. Upon wrecking my ship and being stranded in the Osmian, left with nothing but certain death, I fought and fought against my approaching destiny. The last thing I remember was being carried through violent waves by a mysterious woman, with raven hair, but her face unable to be seen in the darkness of the night. Before falling back into that inevitable unconsciousness, I begged her name. Here I am Yue, she offered. Yue, now the most beautiful name I had ever heard. I let sleep and waves wash over me, taking me to that distant land. When I awoke, hours, if not days later, it was to a new land, far away from home, and she was gone. And then there is a little bit of information at the bottom that reads, although this is likely little more than a folk tale passed around the Aberton region, which is in Wisteria, this is one of the many stories that draw a connection between Aurelia and the ocean. Through the author's name and the date of the story being created aren't factually known, the common belief is that this story is that it was told by a male sailor, and from leaving the city of Aberton, set sail to the Osmian Sea. This man most likely landed somewhere in northern Azir.
So to put it in perspective, whenever I read this, I also had a list of names that the gods go by in different regions, and that's what made me come up with this idea. I came up with it. Shorty didn't know about it. So
I will also say, like, Zach, like, literally did the research here. He had the list of gods. I'm pretty sure I, like, let you look at a map of the continents of the world and stuff. And you did all of this. I'm not going to make you roll for it because you literally did the research.
So one of the goddess of death has a name called Uede, and it's spelled Yuede, and Ue is spelled Yue. So, and that name for the goddess of death is from the Averton area, and so my point was, what?
Azir.
Azir.
You flipped him.
My point was the scribes copying this tale shortened Uede to Yue because nobody wants to worship the goddess of death. So instead, they wanted to worship Aurelia because he's a sailor and all of these things. So that is Rosari's like research project for that class, is trying to argue from textual criticism perspective, like, no, this is a poem about the goddess of death, not Aurelia.
I'm just gonna say, in terms of classes, we're mostly just going to kind of partially glaze over them. I'm not going to make them too mechanically difficult, but I am going to say that Rosari's aces that class for sure, because that's a dope-ass project and brought about something that genuinely surprised me that someone was able to come up with. So I'll take it, for sure.
Cool. So there's the poem. So I think the only thing I just have 2 things left. My smithing stuff. One, I want to forge a set of splint mail and sell off my chainmail armor to sort of help fund that. And I think we said still put in like 75 gold.
Yeah, we've already done the math on that. You've ran it by me. You can easily do that. And I was actually going to say, if you wanted to use this for your final project for smithwork and forging, that would absolutely work. Unless
That's
you had a
fine.
different project that you also want to do. You can do both.
I had a different smithing thing. I just wanted to make a set of matching knives for each of the 4 first-year paladins.
For sure. Yeah, you give those out to, I guess you get one, Beatrice gets one, Jeremiah gets one, and Lysilda gets one. The 4 paladins. So yeah.
Other than that, I don't think I would have enough time to start on a great sword or finish a great sword, but I'll get it started.
Yeah, you start looking into it, looking at materials and stuff like that. Yeah, for
It'll
sure.
be a next semester project type thing. And then the last thing is just the training session. I think since you said like people are focused on our party, I'm going to use that to my advantage and be like, oh, you want to train with like one of the better first year paladins. And I'll try to get like every martial character and pretty much anyone who wants to wield a physical weapon. And so like Lucian coming in with a dagger would be perfectly acceptable, and just try to get everyone to train.
For sure. I will go ahead and run through the list of people who train with you with 0 effort needed on your part because you've already established rapport with them. We have Ella, or Echo, whatever you want to call her. We have, let me get them down here. Taz, the 3rd-year paladin, and Ella is I want to say 3rd-year fighter. We have Sir John Luke, who is the man, the myth, the legend. I don't even have a description for him because he's just that cool. Who needs to describe him? Just meet him. You also get some familiar faces like Beatrice. Balon stops by quite a few times. Can you give me an insight check for Balon, actually, while I pull the rest of these up?
Insight 19.
Cool. It doesn't seem like he dislikes you, but you can tell from the training that he jumps in like a couple of times. 2 things. One, he views you and Lysilda specifically as like competition in a way, because you guys were all part of that like big final fight. And he is trying to like use you guys as a standard. Not that he dislikes you at all. But there's like that little bit of, these are the people that I'm comparing myself to, and it's kind of not hostile, but it kind of has that vibe a couple of times. Some more people that join in. We obviously have Lysilda, Leo's former potential romance interest, but now just friend. She is very happy to participate. She loves practicing combat. She's there quite often. Taz shows up a few times. Ella's there more often than not. John shows up sporadically. Balon's very consistent. Asta, one of the barbarian first years, shows up pretty often. She seems very aggressive. She is there to win. She is not there for a good time. And then you also get one of the other first year paladins, Jeremiah, who is kind of like a little scrawny kid with like a baby face. He's very excited to be there. He goes with you guys. It doesn't seem like he's actually seen much combat before. So this is going to be good for him. But all of those people show up, and then you invite some extra people, and I will rely on you guys talking to each other to plan out who shows up. Because I know a lot of people are going to the sparring thing. I know Leo's there. I know Marcel was at least invited. Gwen might be there. I'll let you guys determine, like, oh, I know someone to invite. Or you can do persuasion rolls or something.
Marcel will persuade himself to go. And it was very easy. He just needed, it was DC 1. It was fire. So. Just like, yeah, that's a good idea. Good job, Marcel.
Yeah, Marcel shows up, for sure.
I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna try to convince Delphina.
Yeah, I was actually kind of hoping you would say Delphina. Delphina, your fun roommate, she gives 2 conflicting answers. When you ask her, she kind of like does the cool thing where she like flips her hair and looks off to the side, and she's like, maybe we'll see if I have time. But then she shows up every single time.
Okay.
So yeah, she shows up. She likes working with people, especially when you guys like split up into teams and stuff. She loves being able to sneak around and stab people, in which Leo would have to heal them constantly. So yeah, you guys get Delphina. You get a rogue in there. Anybody else?
I'm actually. Athira's gonna show up a few times too. She's not gonna be like one of the super consistent ones, but she does want to come in and try using her actual weapons instead of just magic for a bit.
Sure. Do you want to tell me how that goes, or do you want to make a roll for it?
I mean, she's not gonna be amazing. We can roll for it just for that.
Sure.
But yeah.
Take whatever melee weapon you have and just make an attack roll with it.
Marcel will tell Athira, if you think about it, if you have sharp teeth, that counts like hundreds of daggers. That's a good melee weapon right there.
I know, but I can only have sharp teeth a few times, and then I get too tired to do it.
That sounds like a personal problem, and I'm okay with that.
Thanks, Marcel. You have a fair bit of your own.
Will you actually do me a favor? Roll this twice. Tell me the lower one first, and then the higher one second.
Okay, 17. And then 18.
Oh, nice. Apparently, you kind of pick up on it a little bit faster than you thought. You're no prodigy. You're not like switching to a martial class or anything. But
Like,
no, after some guidance from some of the upperclassmen, surprisingly, John Luke is a like decent teacher, and he's able to show you this Eastern style that he thinks he's perfected. You kind of ignore half the stuff he says, but you're like, oh, the form is there, the practice is there. You pick up on it, and you're able to rather comfortably use. Are you using like a staff or something?
I'm actually using a scimitar.
Scimitar, yeah. So just kind of like getting used to like short swords, scimitars, stuff like that, ends up coming pretty naturally to you.
Sweet.
So Rosaris, you got this training group set up. Is there anything detail-wise you want to give us about it, or are you just having everybody together, practicing and getting to know each other?
I think a lot of it is practicing to get to know each other, but a lot of it is also I'm trying again to like identify who's good at what, so that if I ever need help, I know who to call on for what situation.
Nice. Yeah, I'll give you right now, if you would like to ask any questions about any of the people in here. Personal questions will depend on who you're asking, but any ability stuff you can ask, and I'll answer.
Marcel raised his hand, like, oh, ask me.
Marcel, what have you found out about Jacques?
Okay, it's like a really sharp sword. I learned about that. It's pretty cool. You know, some swords are sharp, really sharp.
Ooh, Marcel, you showed up to these trainings, right?
Yeah.
In these trainings, you guys watched this last time. Echo had a sword that would like set on fire whenever she wanted to use it in combat. Can you roll me just a flat d20? No additions.
Sure thing. That one. Come on, that one.
Come on, that one.
It's just an 18.
18, okay. Luckily you got above a 10, so you're okay. The next time that you guys are training, one of these times you end up clashing with Echo again, and her flaming sword hits Jacques, and you feel the same feeling that you got before, where Jacques seems to be like pulling on something. Like you feel almost like a sense of hunger as he connects with this magical sword. You're not sure what it is, but you're able to like resist it and not immediately give into it. But it does like bring about some questions for you to like try to figure out later. But you're able to resist it, like doing whatever it wanted to do.
So sharp. So sharp. That's what he's repeat to Rosarius next to his ear. Like what he's trying to focus. He's go, so sharp. So sharp.
Thanks, Marcel.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions about the NPCs at all?
I think the only question I would have about the NPCs is not Echo's sword, but her ability, like the Echo ability.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you give me a history check, but that is unrelated to really like the information I'm gonna give you.
14.
14. You've never heard of it before. You've never even really heard of much close to it. You talked to her a little bit, and it turns out that this is like a completely unique ability to her. As of right now, she is working with like Professor Barron and Professor Hornblower, even some of the fighter and sorcery professors. They're like looking into it, but I'm gonna leave this down to another check. How personal she gets. Give me a persuasion roll. I'm gonna say the DC is 15.
And for being a paladin, I'm not good at persuasion. But I did get a 20. Not a nat 20, Marcel.
Nice.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, on a 20, I'm gonna say you and Ella have like formed a sort of like friendship, like a mutually respectful friendship of like, I respect the amount of effort you're putting into like getting good at this. I can see myself in you a little bit. So she's kind of like almost a mentor figure for you. She tells you at some point that from what they've learned about her abilities, it's because her mom experimented on herself, because she used to be from Valenrun, like magically when she was pregnant, to try to give her child like innate magical powers, and it didn't work until it kind of did. And that's where this like came from, and she's not exactly sure how to be able to like replicate that, but that's what the staff are like looking into. Is they're like, hey, we have a lot of good resources here, we'll see if we can't figure out either how to like replicate it if you want, or to cancel it if you want, but like they're helping her look into it. But as far as you know, it is completely unique and exists only with this one person.
So I really want her to be my friend, is what you're saying. She has a unique ability. Got it.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's everything for me.
Cool. Yeah, the rest of them sort of come and go. You have like a little bit of a colleague connection with like Taz and John Luke and the rest, but yeah, Asta comes off as very abrasive and angry. Balon seems to be very competitive in this. Beatrice is just there to have fun. But I think that brings us to our last person, to Athera.
What?
What? The consequences of my own actions?
Oh my gosh. Consequences of rolls. One roll.
Sure. All right, what is Athera doing during her downtime?
Well, one of the biggest things is she is focusing on wild shape.
Yeah.
Practices like every day and is definitely at that club as much as she can, really looking to kind of learn how to use it in combat effectively and just get comfortable with switching in and out and building stamina.
Yeah, I mean, through rigorous practice and stuff, it just gets significantly easier over time. You're getting to the point where doing it once or twice a day, every single day for, 8 or 9 weeks straight, you eventually get to the point where like you could do it in your sleep. It no longer feels awkward. Going with the club, there are probably a couple of things that you get taught, because this is a Circle of Moon Druids club exclusively. Like, these are the people who are the best of the best at wild shape, and you are slowly picking up on this. There are 2 things that like Kelrin and Hildegard sort of talk to you about. Kelrin is the paragon of this group. She is a 4th year. So you would maybe eventually pick up that she's in a party with Rolaris, that Dragonborn that Gwen knows. And then Hildegard, as we all know, is just, failing the Bechdel test because she's obsessed with Leo. But they are talking about 2 things they've really focused on. Kelrin is trying to essentially create the ability with Professor Mineo to turn into magical creatures like monstrosities and stuff, not just beasts. So that's something that she's been practicing, specifically like owl bears is something that she's trying to get done. But it's tough, and she thinks it's going to be very limited to like, she's going to have to really pick 1 or 2 to hammer down on to get. She can't just do all of them. Hildegard tells you that a lot of moon druids especially will have a like preferred form that they'll take a lot. It's not uncommon for people to, dedicate to like, hey, I really like the dire wolf, or I really like the bear. Kelrin loves bears. Some people prefer spider. Doesn't matter. But like, if you pick one and stick with it, it's not that it gets any better, but typically you will find one that sort of fits you the best, and that will come a lot more naturally. So she says that one of the reasons you might be forcing yourself to practice so much is because whatever you've been doing doesn't quite fit what you're supposed to be doing, or what comes naturally to you.
Oh, no. That's gonna like really just confuse and make Athera more ambitious to keep trying. Like instead she's like looking up all the different animal types and trying new things and getting a little bit frustrated that she isn't figuring out that form.
Hairless mole rat. Try it.
That could be it. I mean, does
She
Athera give you
refuses-
guys hairless mole rat vibes?
Oh my gosh. There are some animals she's like, nope. If that's the one, I won't even.
I cannot blame you. Yeah, so I'd say in
I'm
terms
changing my class.
I'm gonna be a fighter now.
in terms of wild shape practice, again, it gets to the point where you're able to do it consistently. But the two things that you're like striving for are, like Kelrin said, of she's looking into the ability at like specifically higher levels. It's not an easy thing to do, turning into magical creatures. And Hildegard said like maybe branching out from just the 1 or 2 or 3 that you consistently do, and like finding one that fits you more, if that makes sense. What else you got?
What else I got? It was flipped to my list. Okay, and then I'm going to be reading a lot of books. The ones that like Yetrevol had recommended on Druid Magic. I definitely talked to Baron to get some more recommendations there, and spending a lot of time learning the spells that I feel like I can do now and getting familiar with them, and then just like reading a bunch of stuff that doesn't really even make sense because it's stuff that I'm going to learn later, but developing a base knowledge so that it might be somewhat familiar on down the line.
Yes. I wanted to ask you, so Yetrevol is a fighter professor. Are we sure that's the one that gave you the book? I don't really remember.
Oh, I can't remember.
Was it Nalithe or...
Yes.
Okay, Nalithe.
Marcel?
It was Marcel. Yeah. That's pretty easy. You spend some time practicing magic, reading books, and going through with that. There's not a lot needed to be done there, but you definitely start getting the hang of it over time. Especially now that you have an arcane focus. That makes everything so much easier.
So easy. Cool. Then I'm also going to be experimenting with my tea blends, and I've been growing a bunch of herbs and like making different blends specifically with like uses. So I'll make calming teas, focusing teas, energy teas, and then I'm just randomly and unprompted giving them to different students around the school when I think that they need them. So gave Marcel a calming tea, and then also probably snuck an energy tea in there because it would be funny. And gave Rosaris an emotional release tea, and like just things like that.
For sure. I love that just for fun. You also have 3 students who are going to come up to you asking you for specific teas if you'd like to give it to them. The first one, Barry, friends with Kata. She comes up to you and asks you like, hey, listen, I know we like don't know each other all that well, but I've seen you giving teas to people. Could I have a tea that helps with anxiety? Because I have a performance for my bard class coming up and I'm nervous.
Oh yeah, of course. I think I have something. Would you wait 2 minutes? And I run back in and I like make up a little blend for her, and then I give it to her.
For sure. You make up the blend, give it to her. She gives you 2 silver pieces and thanks you so much, and heads off to drink this tea. The next one, you get a girl named Tiffany, who you actually recognize. She is in the Druidic Languages class, and she stands out because she's the only non-Druid in there. She comes up to you closer towards like finals time, and she's like, hey bestie, can you give me a tea that's going to help me study and like keep me focused and help me with that, because I'm taking a lot of really different classes and need the help as tests come up.
I'm gonna nod, and like I have a little like bag with me, and I'll just pull out. There's like a ton of this specific tea in this bag because I've just been giving them to everybody.
Yeah, this is liquid Adderall. That's what this is.
And I'm like, yep, and I'll give her 2 bags. I'll be like, just in case.
She takes them, smiles at you, super big, and she's like, "Do I pay you for this? Or are you just giving these out? What's the plan here? Is this a business?"
And I'll look completely like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I'll be like, you know what? This one's on the house, but it is a business. But you can have this for free.
She gives you the biggest smile, says thank you, like hugs you, and then runs off to go study.
Like the dealer's first little sample.
That's
This is a Kieran story all over again.
yeah, but this one's working.
This one's great. The last one that comes up is probably midway through the semester. Balon comes up to you at one point. It just hands you a gold piece before even saying anything, and he says, "Heard you make teas for things. I need one to give me energy to fight."
At this point, I have a slightly larger bag that has like pockets, and they're like organized, and I'll just pull out. I'll give him 2 bags of the energy tea, and I'll be like, "Thanks. Let people. You can tell people if you want."
For sure. With doing that, again, using one of your proficiencies to potentially set up a business, do you want to try to get a clientele base and like make money from this, or is this just a like personal hobby?
No, once she had that interaction, there was like, "Is this a business?" It's like sparked something in her going, "Oh yeah, you know what?
Thank you, get the Ura.
Would not be a bad idea."
Yeah.
So she's definitely doing that.
Cool. I won't say that you're gonna make like bukus of money here, but just remember that a gold is like $100. Go ahead and give me, let's do like 3d4. Or actually, if you want to roll a persuasion check, you could potentially increase this. And if you would like to recruit the help of any friends or other people to help, you could potentially get advantage.
Yeah, so I'm going. Can I ask Kata to help?
Yes, you can.
So
Oh,
I'm gonna be
cool.
like, "Look, I've got this thing going on. It's actually been really great. I'll give you a 10% cut if I don't know, you just bardically spread the word that these teas are really helpful."
As a matter of fact, she is so interested in this. She says, "I'll help. This is what you've been working on. First of all, awesome. I love it. I'll help. I don't need a cut. I would just like, if I ever need a tea, if I could just like grab one, but I promise not to take too many." She'll accept that, and she will actually make the persuasion check for you. So you will give her the help action in this instance.
Cool. So
She's going to have advantage on this. She's really good at persuasion. She got a 26. So roll me 18d4.
whoa.
Send the DC at 8 for a lot of these things.
18d4.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we will probably cut some out for like material cost, but this is going to be how much you make.
51.
51. Let's say that you make about 25 gold pieces.
Sweet.
Everybody send up businesses. I feel like we're playing like The Sims or
Yeah, we're
something.
playing a different game now.
I literally was like, "Oh, this would just be a cool flavor thing," and now I'm making money.
Now you're making money. Cool. So, I mean, your
Right,
tea
right.
thing worked really well. Again, I'm just thinking like in y'all's downtime where you don't have anything else to do, you're just doing this and then making money from it. So it's not like we have to spend a lot of time on it, but anytime there's a time jump, it's like you're making money. Um, cool. Anything else for your downtime?
I think there was one more thing. Oh, yeah. I'm going to spend time getting to know Jeremy, the Red Cardinal, who was gifted to me by John Luke.
Yes.
Um,
For
kind of want to
context,
figure out.
because again, this is the beginning of a new arc. It's been a long time. John Luke gave the party a bunch of gifts at the end of the party games before like the big fight, and in Athera's, he had caught a bird and put it in a box, and that's Jeremy. Sure. When you say get to know Jeremy, what sort of stuff are you asking him about, and what's the plan here?
So my intention is to understand where he's from and figure out if there's a way to get him home. But I'm also like secretly really enjoying having this bird friend and hoping he might stick around a little bit.
Sure. Give me an animal handling check.
You're free, but I don't really want you to go.
8.
8. You and him have like a love-hate relationship. He appreciates you being so kind to him, but he's also just like perpetually angry because he got ripped from his home, stuffed in a box, and shipped off. You
That's
try to help him plan how to get home, and he's just like, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea where the hell I am. I don't know how to get home. I don't even know where I'm from. I'm just, that's a nice tree. I'm gonna go sit in that tree. And he like goes up right by your dorm window and sets his little nest up there.
I'll be like, okay. And throughout the weeks, like after this happens, I will acquire a tiny little bird-sized teacup, and we'll always have a little bit of tea sitting on the windowsill for him, hoping he'll come back sometime.
Do you put any of your specialties in there?
It's gonna be a special blend catered to birds.
Bird tea. Interesting.
Yeah, you got some like sunflower.
Also, you like need one of the emotional release tea.
Yeah.
If it doesn't wake up, he'll stay with me, right?
Oh God! Please don't roofie a bird. All right, yeah, I like it. You and Jeremy have this very interesting sort of dynamic where like he will come to the window sometimes and just be like, "Hey, where's that tea at? You got any food? You got some snacks? Come on, help me out here." He eventually becomes almost like a thorn in your side. Like he's very cat-like in that way, where he's like, you keep him around and you love him, but he is just a nuisance.
Sometimes when people are walking by the druid dorms, they'll hear from a window upstairs someone go, "Jeremy, stop that!"
Love
Just
it.
yelling at him.
For sure. I believe that wraps it up. Is there anything else? Again, just giving you guys context here. We left off at the 9 weeks. So you guys will have 9 weeks of class time and the New Year break, which is, I think, 3 weeks long. Is there anything else you guys want to do in that time? Do you visit anybody? What do you do over the break? Anything else for
Marcel Marcel was planning on visiting his old family.
For sure. Which we might have to do a little like special session for that at some point. But we'll skip over it for now. Marcel goes home to visit his family, visit his sisters and siblings. Hiccup, excuse me. Anybody else?
I'll send a letter to the orphanage just saying that everything's going pretty good.
Heck yeah. Yeah, you send a letter off home and keep them updated, which you assume that they're going to be very happy to hear, but it being so far away, it'll probably be a while before he gets there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys adopted yet? Hurry up.
Find a family.
Skill issue. Anybody else? Like Leo, Rosaries, Lucian, Athera. You guys are free to stay at the school over break, but is there anything special you guys do? Where do you go?
I'll probably try to send the letter to the guy for the shield.
Yeah.
just to try to get that started.
For sure. You send that off.
I probably don't have time to go there and come back, so I'll just send the letter.
Yeah, I'm kind of far away. Lucian, you're from like right down the road. Do you go back home for break or do you stay at the school? You are muted, my guy.
Spellcasters and silence name.
I'd be staying at the school.
Gotcha. Too much stuff to do. Too much studying to be done. I understand.
Way too many.
Leo, I think you mentioned potentially bringing Hildegard home. Is that happening?
Oh,
This graduation, the rare graduation.
No.
Graduation.
No.
so it was like, oh, just one
It's like-
semester, right, guys? That's how it works.
So
after one
to-
semester, we're done.
His brother's graduation.
Yeah, to reset the timeline
No.
here, to remind you, New Year's break is like 3 weeks long. There is a spring break that you will get that is a week long. That's when your brother's graduation is. So you just have like a long break where you could go home or stay at the school or whatever. I need to actually look. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 weeks.
I think Hildegard's gonna meet my family at my brother's graduation.
Cool. I like
That's
that.
the plan.
So are you like staying at the school for this break then?
I think so. Unless we go back to Hildegard. I don't even know where Hildegard's from.
You should probably find that out.
Asked about that.
It
Yeah,
is
so
3
unless we go
weeks.
back to Hildegard. Meet her fam.
Yeah. Actually, I will say over the break, if you wanted to, I'm gonna say give me a persuasion check with advantage against your own girlfriend. She might invite you back. She might not. Let's just see how this relationship's going.
That does not sound like a healthy relationship.
I just like leaving stuff up to rolls. I feel like it fits out pretty well.
Oh. Oh, it's a 12.
12. I'm going to say that she gives you some information. She's from Mountain Pass, which is in the Eventide region, which is like really far west from here. It's not super long, but it would take you guys at least like 2 days, 3 days to get there. With that, she has an older sister, she has a younger brother, she has a mom and a dad. They're all humans. She tells you about her family, but she does specifically say like, hey, I'm going to go back home for break and visit them. Things are going okay with us. I don't want to immediately bring you back after us only having been together officially for like, 6 or 7 weeks, not even 2 months at this point.
My girl.
Yeah. So she's like, maybe next time, but let's make sure that with the change of the semester, everything's going to go okay between us, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Perfect.
So yeah, you get the seed planted, but nothing happens. All right. If that is it,
Whoa.
that's not it. Athera.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh,
Thera's gonna go to Ilium.
Word.
Is that making sense? Okay. I'm
Yeah,
making
yeah.
sure that like my mapping reading is working.
Let me pull
it's
up.
not.
Let me pull up the Wisteria map really quick for everybody to look at. So to give some context here, this is the setup. Ura Lumis is right here by this little lake river, and then
Can't see
Ilium
anything.
is the closest big kingdom. So the kingdoms sort of like have they're almost like states in this instance, and Ilium is the capital. So Ura Lumis is very close to Ilium. Miriam's Crossing is like a 30 or 45-minute walk. Ilium is a couple hours traveling. Not very bad. So yeah, you could go spend the break in Ilium. Especially if you were like selling tea blends and stuff like that. It could be a fun time.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Nice. Brief description. Gwen has been to Ilium before, so I know you guys have probably heard about it, but it is very artsy. It's like, think Nashville, where it's known for being like, there's a lot of music, there's a lot of art, there's a lot of artistic culture. There's like a wall of poetry in the city. There is the Moon Blossom Gardens, which the royal family hosts. It's like a big botanical garden full of like magical plants and stuff. So it's a very, very pretty and fun place. You find a lot of stuff to do over the break, but you go spend a little, you know, what's the word? Not break, but vacation by yourself.
I can attest that
Vacay.
place is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it sounds like IRL. I would really like it, so I'm excited.
Cool,
Okay,
Yeah,
let's all jump
like-
into the game, guys.
I got like a garden place.
Cool. Yeah.
I
Alright,
was gonna go
so-
there, but then Shorty put a fucking like ranger competition thing in there, and of course I had to go to
You
that.
gotta go to that. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we will come back and we will pick up on the new semester, figuring out what's happening at the school and where has Kieran been and what has he been up to. So we'll be right back. Cool. Let's pick back up. Welcome back. Break's done. As of this point right now, the six of you, after not having seen much of Kieran throughout the semester because you guys weren't being sent on missions yet, you didn't have a ton of party stuff, he seemed to have skipped the homeroom class that you guys had together multiple times. He's kind of just in and out. Sometimes you see him, sometimes you don't. But as of right now, semester 1 is finished. You guys have major schedules for semester 2. You have probably not changed professors very much, considering each class only has 2 or 3 professors. But this new semester has started. New Year's break is done. You guys had a 3-week break from classes, and I'm assuming the energy is high and you guys are all excited to come back to Ura Lumis yet again. But there are a couple more things that we would probably want to tackle in the downtime. For example, Athera, you spent some time in Ilium, and you told me that you had a couple of things that you specifically wanted to like learn and find out and stuff like that. So if you don't mind running those by me, I will just give you, maybe some of them require checks, maybe some of them don't, but you'll get some information regardless.
Yeah. Wait, I sent them to you. You want me to like read it out to you?
Yeah, just give me like one at a time and tell me where you want to go first.
Okay. So if there's like hubs in the like high end part of the city, that would be like artsy hangouts where you might find like people of your quote unquote noble class or people that have a good bit of power in the area. I'm gonna go there and try to kind of like just scope it out, try pass off and like talk to some people, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at Ilium, if you're going for nobles and things like that, one of the upper class places I will say is, we already mentioned it, Moon Blossom Gardens, because it is owned by the royal family. So that's a place where like it's in the castle grounds. You have to specifically get a ticket, and typically that will take like a week or two. But assuming you look into it as soon as you get to Ilium, probably like just a couple days before you have to leave, you're able to finally get in there. So you go through Moon Blossom Gardens, which again is very, very botanical garden meets magic plants that are like brought in from various places in the world and shown off almost like a museum. But in this, a lot of the wealthier people will spend a lot of time here just because they can. So you're bumping shoulders and sort of meeting some upper class people. What kind of objective do you have here? What exactly kind of information are you looking for?
Yeah. So to like start, I'm kind of just trying to figure out one, what kind of people they are. So like I'm just getting a general characteristic of like, does this person seem like a nice person? Does it seem like they're shady? Does it seem like maybe they're more like caring and involved in their community? And then I want to try and figure out like specific details. So what do they like do for a living? How did like what's their connection to Ilium? How are they involved in their community? Like kind of their trade. And then just like if I can manage it, like having casual conversations of like, oh hey, get their name, hear about their families, that kind of stuff.
For sure. Just a couple of people that you might bump into in this instance. You meet this nicer old half-elf lady, and you start up a conversation with her because you see her actually going through the botanical garden and go up to a plant, and as she like strokes it, you notice some magic as the plant like blossoms a little extra and some of the wilting leaves are brought back, and you pick up on some druid magic. And that sparks your conversation. You go up and you just introduce yourself to her. Her name is Invita Fenley, Nvida. You guys talk for a little bit. She seems very, very nice. She is very kind. And just in the conversation, giving you some of that information that she is happy to share. She's lived in Ilium for quite a while, at least like 30 years at this point. It's very big on trade because it's the like border kingdom to Wisteria, so trade with all the other kingdoms comes through here first. That's why it's such a big like hub. And her husband is actually one of the reasons she moved here because he's big into art. He is a musician, and this is like his place because this is, if you want to be a bard, there's a lot of bard colleges here. But she seems very nice, seems very kind. They kind of decently well educated, but very lax and laid back, chill kind of person.
Nice.
Anything else? Did I miss anything? Are you looking for anything else? What's next?
Is that like the only person I really interact with in that area?
I'd say it's one that sticks out to you. There are probably a couple of others, but they all seem more of the like, in terms of nobility or rich people, she seems one of the only ones that maybe kind of is a good person, if that makes sense. The rest of them seem like they're a little wealthier, so they don't like care about people who don't really match with them. So they see you and they see your clothes that don't necessarily like match up with Ilium's like big culture of arts. There's a lot of like really fine clothing here, and they see you and they're just like, oh, clearly you're not like, you know, in the same realm as us. So some of them sort of feel standoffish to you.
I'm gonna like, I'm noticing this while I'm talking to Navita, and I'm just gonna be like, they're not gonna give me the time of day because I don't look like them, huh?
She gives you a very soft smile and says, you would probably be right. They're stuck in their own world and don't realize that other people exist.
Out of curiosity, what are there? And I'm just gonna point to like the two most like the wealthiest, probably snottiest looking people in that room, and be like, what do they do for a living?
Yeah, she would say that those people that they point out, there is a organization known as Daraleth Press in Ilium. That's like a very big business. It is a like, obviously it's a press, so they make a bunch of books and art pieces and like music and things like that. Anything to do with like copying things onto paper. It's a very good source of money because it requires very little monetary investment, but there's a lot of payoff on it. So they've developed, aided by some magic, machines to help replicate books and stuff. They own that. Have they ever worked in it a day in their life? Probably not. But they get a lot of money from it. So those two that you point out, like this older looking halfling man who's like very round. He has like a bushy mustache and very like nice coat on. And then his wife, who's like a short human, so still a foot taller than him, but they're walking hand in hand, and she's like, yeah, they you know, made their business, got very wealthy from it, and then probably have not actually done any work in decades.
Can you? What are their names?
Improvising. Their names are
Sam and Dean Winchester.
what?
Perfect.
The male's name is Kenerick. So Kenerick.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wife's name is Maisie.
Good. Thank you. You've been really helpful. I appreciate that you're not put off by my obvious lack of connections in here. I'm sorry, I didn't catch. What do you do for a living?
She
No
will.
slaves.
What?
It's like, oh, I talked to the wrong person.
Huh? No, she tells you, obviously, no worries there. She's happy to interact with people. That's kind of what her job is anyway. She is a representative from the Althus tribe of out in Eventide. It's a druid clan. And she is a representative here because they try to have like at least one person in all of the kingdoms, and Ilium was very receptive to it. So they essentially gave her a very notable position where all she has to do is maintain connections between her home and here, which she came here after marrying her husband. And that's essentially what she does. She is like a politician of sorts.
Oh, that's very cool. It was very nice to meet you. Maybe I'll see you again sometime when I'm back in Ilium.
She gives you a handshake and says that she really hopes so. And if you ever do come back to Ilium, please visit.
I will. Then I'm gonna leave the Moon Gardens, and then I'm gonna seek out like more lower class like hangouts. So I mean, if there's arts places where there might be that, I'm gonna go to like pubs and things like that. And essentially, I'm looking for anybody of like middle to lower class that will talk to me and I can kind of start to build a bit of rapport and like friendship, and maybe develop some people that I can continue to communicate with even when I'm back at Ura Lumis.
Yeah.
I have this idea called communism.
I'll just give you like the bullet point rundown. The upper class places are the White Steps district, which is what is like the castle and the gardens and stuff like that. There's also the Wall of Poetry in the White Steps district, so it's very nice. Next, you also have Golden Crest, which is like the western gate towards Valenrun and Ura Lumis. It's also very, very nice. And then in the middle class sort of areas, you have like Ellen Pass, where there's the Ellen Pass Park. They have archery competitions there, as Gwen would know. There's Southgate, is getting a little bit lower class, and then the East Gate.
Cool. I'm gonna go to Southgate.
For sure. Yeah, this is like a larger, lower, maybe like lower middle class residential area. So a lot of your peasants would be here. It's got a much more homey vibe than like White Steps, which is very well kept and orderly and nice. This is like when you go to a big city, this is the part that people live in. So it's got a lot of like taverns and inns, coffee shops, stuff like that.
Cool. I'll go to one of the taverns, whatever looks like it is the most bustling.
For sure. if you would like to make this easier, just go ahead and give me a charisma check, or we'll call it persuasion. Persuasion or deception, either one. You don't even have to tell me. Roll one with advantage.
Okay. Um, 17.
Nice. On a 17, you meet a man who is sort of like a manager on some of the farms south of Ilium. His name is Cassidus, Cacidus. He's a farmhand, and he is still in like the lower middle-ish class, but he is like someone worth noting in a sense of like he knows a lot of people. He's well connected because he manages one of the farms. So you meet with him, you strike up a conversation. I'll say you even like maybe buy him a drink or something, and that establishes some rapport with you guys. He's, probably in his like mid-30s, very working man, blue collar vibes. He's got like a scruffy face, medium length brown hair. But he's happy to just like have a conversation and talk to you, tell you about what it's like working on the farm and what all he does.
I'm not really looking for anything specific while talking to him. I'm mostly building a rapport. I might, offer, hey, like, I'm a student at this school, and eventually we're going to be running around, like, helping people. So if you ever need help, like, let me know. Basically, building enough of a relationship over the weeks that I'm there with him that it wouldn't be odd of me to, like, reach out to him at times and be like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah. I'd say that he's a good person for that. And again, I'm probably cutting out a lot of like failed attempts here. You probably try to strike up conversations with people who are not interested at all. But then you meet this guy, Cassidus, who's like fully into it. He's like, yeah, hey, having more connections is never a bad thing. If you ever need help, reach out to me. And if I ever need something like from the school, because he knows about Ura Lumis, if I ever need like a job done from you guys, I'll send note for you.
Sweet. I'll buy him another drink and then eventually head off and head back to the school.
Sick. Cool. With that, does anyone else have anything that they would like to happen over the break right before we get back to school? If not, we will pick right back up.
I'll practice with Merble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Merble, and I'll bring her picture up again. She is a half-orc ranger in your class. She is... I'm trying to think of a good way to describe her personality. She's a little quieter, but she's very, like, fierce and headstrong in her own way. She's quite confident. She's very sure of herself.
He's Fiona for Shrek. There you go. We can move on.
Yeah. That'll do it. So yeah, you talk to her over the break because you guys are some of the students who are still here. She ends up not going home for like part of the like New Year's break. You guys have a lot of fun in like some archery competition and stuff like that. She also is consistently like buying arrows from you and will probably like to like learn how to do it. So
Okay.
yeah, she potentially like asks you to teach her how at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe once the new semester starts up or something. But yeah, you guys build up a little bit of a buddy connection in some of your free time over the break for sure.
Cool. That's it. That was one thing from my list I forgot. So
Yeah.
just thought I'd add it in real quick.
For sure. All right. Well, if no one else has anything else, let's pick back up with the new semester. You guys all come back, and the air on campus is about what you'd expect on college campuses after coming back from like New Year's break. Like a lot of people are like, oh, we're back here again, more work, more homework. It's not as fun. But then a lot of people are also like super excited to see their friends again. Some people went out on missions and they're talking about them. Some of the upperclassmen that you guys know come back and they have like new gear and things like that. But
Marcel's just streaking around, just like,
Oh no, he took the energy key again.
Marcel gets tased by security. Someone runs up, shocking grasps on the head, and then they like drag his body away as he's seizing.
no. I'm streaking, guys. Let me keep streaking.
Please don't. So yeah, you guys come back. The new semester is here. It seems like a really fun time, but everyone is called for a meeting in the ballroom whenever you guys are ready. So if you have anything that you want to like do or any people you want to see or talk to, you can, but the ballroom meeting is like on the agenda for the first day for everyone back.
Marcel be grabbing Leo and like, come on, we're going to ballroom. Come on, let's go ballroom. Come on, man, come on.
What?
Come on, follow me. Come on, Leo. In a hurry. I want to get the good
Okay.
seats. Come on. He's like, keeps like shouting Leo.
Marcel uncharacteristically
Yes.
wants to get there super early and reserves you guys the best seat closest to the stage.
Why are we so close?
Now everyone will see us when they get in here.
I-
Remember, we're like the top dog, guys. We're like the freaking champions. We need everyone to remember that. We're the best.
Where's everyone else?
You guys are the only people in the ballroom.
They always come.
The meeting's in
Just
2
wait,
hours.
Huh?
I was like, I was on a date, man.
Yeah, like, why are we here so early?
Obviously, we set on decoration, put up some of our symbols, like Marcel's there, like writing down Marcel on the walls.
All right. Does anyone else have anything they want to do before the meeting starts, or are you guys just ready to jump into it?
Grab some food.
Gwen comes in snacking.
Uh-huh.
For sure. Gwen comes in with some food. The rest of you guys come in. Rosari's has his new set of armor on, which you guys are probably like all seeing for the first time. Everybody has had like a little bit of a change, I want to say, going into this. Like Athera, this was probably your first full like outing by yourself, really meeting a lot of people. So you might even be carrying yourself in a different way. I lied. Gwen is the exact same. She is snacking on some food and
No change.
yeah, no change. Leo is like smitten in love. Lucian's got maybe like a little bit more confidence to him after the talk with Baron and some of that downtime practicing with Cilia. Marcel, he got tased by security. Not much else has changed, I guess. But anyway.
Well, that's how I get my hair like this.
Yeah, straight up. You guys come in. The rest of the students are like filing in as you guys come in. Marcel reserved the front table for you guys in your party of 6. Notoriously, you guys notice that Kieran is not there, which again, he's been kind of like off and on throughout the last part, but you guys have seen him. He's been interacting with a couple people. He has been, growing his little business that he was doing for some money on the side. He seems to like have been passing his classes. He had a couple of friends that weren't you guys on campus, but he's not here, so there's an empty seat at y'all's table. But everybody files in. The room is slowly filled up as all of the staff and students come in, and then eventually Director Lumis appears in the stage, and everybody's like sitting there washing, and he yells out, "Good morning!"
Good morning, bro. Whoa! Lumis! Screaming, shouting from the front row.
You hear someone from behind you guys just go, "It's like 6 p.m.
And
Loomis just looks at you guys, finger guns, and he says, all right. So welcome back. It has been a great semester. I am so excited for everybody to be back at the wonderful, incredible Ura Lumis. Isn't it exciting? We only had 3 first years die. That's a new record. Awkward silence fills the room.
Next year will be 20.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the record.
Thank you, Marcel.
Athira's gonna like reach forward and just grab his shirt and kind of like try
Like the
and pin him
Beatles, like
down.
Michael Jackson, like trying to reach for him.
Just get down.
Loomis continues. He claps his hands and a little bit of like blue light flashes out and he says, anyway, just kidding. Obviously, no one died yet. It's fine. Very promising group of first years here, of course, brought up by a couple of very powerful wizards, if I may say so myself. And you hear Billy over off to the side just go, yeah. But continuing.
Look how he died.
We have some very special guests. We have some very special
that
guests.
tea didn't work.
That's the next arc is just an assassination plan against Billy.
Yeah.
I told you guys druids are evil.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
It's just cannibals.
Sure. But Loomis says, we have some very special guests. I would love to say that they were here by, any, interest in that accord, but it is purely financial, let me say. But I will invite up our other speakers, and then afterwards we will talk to you guys about any potential changes in rules or things like that, which I will not be doing. I'm going to go do something more fun than that. But to introduce our guests, let me bring up Mr. Green. To which he steps off the stage, and Mr. Chase Green, who you guys know to just be like, just kind of like a guy around campus. He's like the head of Res Life, so he knows everybody pretty well. He manages all the roommate stuff.
Hey, Zach.
It's Zach's twin. He walks up to the stage and has to like speak a little bit louder because his voice isn't magically amplified, and he's like, so today for you guys we have a couple of guests coming out from Mira. They made a very long trip, so let's make sure to be very, very respectful and cordial and welcome them in. I won't give too much because I want them to be able to talk about their purpose and their cause and everything for us. But everyone please give a big round of hand for our friends from the Church of Paran. And he sort of like motions to the stage and steps away. Which at that time, a couple of faces step on that you guys have never seen before. There is a little gnomish halfling, you're not really sure, wrapped in some like monk-like garb. There is a taller, kind of like Eastern-looking man, and a very tall, slim, sun-kissed elf with long blonde hair walking onto the stage wearing like this bright golden armor, and they all three sort of like wave to you guys and go up. The elf woman steps up to the front of the group as the other two sort of like take a step off to the side and to the back with their arms crossed or behind their back. She speaks, her voice magically amplified. She says, "Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Dyla. I am a representative from the Church of Paran. It is very exciting to get to speak with you all today. We just wanted to come in to establish connections with the school yet again. I know we have a new group of first years here, and we have not been to the church or to the school in 2 years or so." And she looks back at the taller guy in the back, and he just kind of like nods. And she says, "So we wanted to let you guys know that upon graduating, the school has a sort of connection with the church. We will happily accept graduates of Ura Lumis. We will speed you through the application process to join in to the Ardent Solace, which is our strike force for the church. We get sent out on missions very similar to you guys. Something very, very familiar to you. And if you graduate from here, clearly you are very good at what you do. So there's no need for us to stress the testing your capabilities side of things. And just to go over details, obviously there is a financial incentive. There is a 1,000 gold piece sign-on bonus for Ura Lumis graduates. You are provided housing, and it is a very steady paying job, plenty of gold to anyone who signs up and sticks on. So, if you have any questions, myself, Brooke, and Zane will be in the back. You can come up and talk to us. It will be our pleasure to give you as much information as you want. But it is great to see you all. I hope you have an excellent semester, and best of luck. Hope to see you again soon. And she takes a very deep bow, very elegantly walks off the stage. And as the other two walk off, they sort of like eye and scan the crowd. And I would say, Athera, you have a very high passive perception, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. You notice that Zane and Brooke, those other two, are eyeing the crowd, and it looks like they are scanning. They are not just looking out on a crowd, they're like trying to look at each person's face and almost see if they recognize someone. But they step off the stage and go off to the side, and Mr. Green comes back up and he says, "Yeah, excellent. If you guys have any questions, like they said, just step off to the side and talk to them. They'll be happy to help. For us, just a reminder, please do not set any of the dorm buildings on fire again. Obviously, we can rebuild them, but that takes time and effort that we could be spent doing something more productive. This is also just another reminder that explosives are very limited on campus. Please keep those in the Parkins building. Do not take them out to other places. All right, thank you. Make sure that you have your schedules done. Have a great semester, guys. You are dismissed." And he claps, and everybody gets up and starts walking away.
Those are some weird guys, aren't they?
Can I also see if I passively percept anything off of Rosari's in this whole scenario?
I'm going to say give me an insight check. And Rosari's, if you want to give me a deception check, you can, or you can give it with disadvantage, or even advantage if you want. I'm going to let you decide how this goes.
And while they're doing that, Marcel will be like, turn to Leo. Hey, so Leo, what's your thought on those kids?
Honestly, they look like they've killed some people.
Yeah. They seem a little dangerous, but I mean, I guess they said to do like a venture quest, so I wouldn't be surprised that they have fought against monsters of people before.
True. From the Church of Paran. Wonder how Rosaris feels about that.
We all looking for sorry. Not everyone staring at the guy.
And on a natural 2,
Oh.
Oh,
Shit.
it's not the same reaction that y'all saw with me and Leo at first. With me and Leo, it was more like a personal thing. With the Church of Cortez, this one is more like a like I have a legitimate reason for my disgust, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it looks more thoughtful than it does like emotional. But y'all definitely see like he does not appreciate having them. Specifically anyone from the church kind of talking.
It is a $1,000 gold signing bonus. That's pretty good. That sounds pretty good. I mean, they probably would accept
sell
me.
your soul. Covert.
yeah, you can
I'm a
only
warlock. I already did that.
just try to sell
I can't do
yourself
it
only
twice,
once.
though.
I thought you didn't know how your thing went.
I don't know how it works, but I studied warlock. Come on, man. Like, you have to think I
He's
learned
like,
it
I don't know
semester.
when, but at one point.
I learned about this, guys. I might not be able to open a book about it, but I learned about this. I had study time.
He's turning into an Autobot.
Yes.
Roll out.
He present like Leo's shoulder.
I think as soon as that happens, and they're asking me, I'm trying to look at Leo to see what he thinks about having the Church of Prawn up there.
And I mean, honestly, I don't think you see much of a reaction from Leo. Got this. What is that?
kind of like observing Rosari's reaction and like him looking at Leo and looking for like the two church-centered people kind of exchanging weird glances. I'm just gonna look at Rosari's and go, so what is it? Why do you look like you want to vomit?
The Church of Piran is very militaristic, and they are forcing people to agree with them or be put to death or be kicked out of their homes or be exiled.
All over the place? This just happens all over, all in your land?
It's starting, and unless people stand up to them, it won't be where I'm from. It'll be here. It'll be north, south, east, and west. I don't think they plan on stopping.
What did they need to restroom?
I guess we'll find out.
But
They
why does
use
this school work with them if they're so...
because they're powerful.
I think did they
have
say
a lot
like
of gold.
financial reasons?
Yeah, they have a lot of gold.
Probably stolen gold too.
Well, that's messed up.
Yeah. It gets to be difficult to make turn into friends.
You're gonna turn... Marcel, not everyone can be turned into friends.
It's going to be one tough ride, but I think there's a chance. But we have each other, guys. We can do a lot.
What can we do?
Sorries. A deer can turn into a squirrel. Leo can do some
right.
healing once in a while. You can shoot like a bow. Lucian can do
Wait,
like
I can?
longbow.
You shoot bows?
Yeah, you shoot bows.
Oh.
Like, you grab a bow and throw another bow.
I
It's
didn't know
really
that.
cool.
Wait.
The double bow. Lucian can do like a lot of awesome wizardry tricks. And Rosarius, he's like really good.
Good at what?
Like fighting and stuff, right?
Or okay. Just making sure.
And I'm Marcel, so I'm good at a lot of things
That is
that Marcel's good at.
One's gonna
Remember, we have
pass out more for
friendship.
extra food at the table.
Friendship would solve all.
As you guys are sitting there talking, and a lot of the people are getting up and like filing out of the ballroom at this point. There are a couple of groups who are staying by. You guys turn and you notice that Grace and Zane walk up to you guys at your table as you're sitting down. Grace leads the way. Zane is shortly behind, just standing behind her. But she walks up to you guys and then like tries to very politely interject and sort of like stand off to the side and like make a little bit of noise so you guys know she's there, waiting for you guys to interact with her, not wanting to cut in the conversation.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I just wanted to talk to you guys really quick. I just talked with Director Loomis and a couple of the other staff members here. You guys were in a party with a man named Kieran, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, would you guys mind telling us as much as you can about him?
He likes grass and women.
He never gets any women. Just don't worry about that.
The grass doesn't like back either.
You see her eyes sort of like go to the side as she looks at Zane, who just kind of gives like a little side of the head nod, and she looks down at the table with an empty seat and she says, "Do you guys care if I sit here?"
I don't think so. No, you can sit there.
Awesome. Thank you. She sits down and, steadies herself and then sits at the table looking at all of you. She says, "So listen, I feel like I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you guys this, but if nothing else, this is someone that you might have been close to, so I feel like you deserve to know on a personal level. So I'm going to reach out on a limb here and hope that this isn't anything bad. But the reason I'm asking is because Kieran, as you might know him, is wanted in Chimera for the assassination of a politician. And one of the reasons why we're here is because we are trying to find him to bring him back so that he can be properly tried. And we have evidence to prove that he is guilty. We have, eyewitnesses from the place. We have confessions from some of his close allies. So when I ask for any information about him, I do appreciate that he likes grass and women, but I think I'm asking for something a bit more serious, if that's possible. And I also would like to put it out there that whatever you tell me might not be the full truth, but that is okay, because we're trying to understand any aliases that he might use and notice a common theme here.
Honestly, I think that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Marcel about to look at Rosaris, Lucian, Leo, and isn't this more like a faculty thing? Maybe you should talk to them instead of us. We're just here for the education.
Well, yes and no. You guys were the closest to him and might know the most to help us. The faculty has whatever he gave them, but you guys might have actually had some insights onto details about him that might have slipped.
Aelin was a very seclusive person. He didn't share a lot of information about himself, but I can tell you that he had a dislike for the Church of Parhan, which many people here do as well. And I just kind of glare.
She gives you a little bit of a soft smile back. She says, I understand that the church is viewed differently in the different nations, which is okay. Everyone's welcome to their own thoughts on that. But again, making it very clear, he is a wanted criminal and fled to here to hide, which is why we're searching for him.
Right. Well, like Lucian said, Kieran kept to himself, and we actually haven't seen him in quite some time now.
Yeah.
Maybe your appearance kind of scared him off.
Perhaps. Which that is for us to worry about, I suppose. She turns and looks at Zane, who squints his eyes a little bit, and he looks out at you guys, and he specifically seems to rest his gaze a little bit more on Rosaris. But then he looks to Grace, and you notice that it doesn't seem like they're having any telepathic conversation, but they just know each other well enough that she takes in a breath and looks to you guys, and she says, well, thank you. And if I can extend this offer personally, if you guys think of anything or you find anything that could help with our investigation, I would be happy to reward you guys for that. It's very important to the church that we, don't let things like this slip through the cracks, especially whenever it's such hard evidence and concrete.
Yeah, I think of the last person I saw Kieran talking to was Billy Castor, and they were talking about something very serious and confined in their room, and then he disappears. So I don't know, but maybe you could look into it. But it could be nothing. I don't know.
Can you...
Gwen laughing was in character, and she had food in her mouth.
Marcel, can you give me a deception check? I want to give you disadvantage because Gwen laughed, but I won't.
No, it wasn't just Gwen. It was every single one of us.
Yeah, Lucian also laughed.
Yeah.
21.
Oh my god.
Yes, let's go.
Hey, David, off the top of your head, do you remember what Zane's insight was? Because I can probably look it up, but it might take me a second.
It probably wasn't 21.
Give me a second.
I think it was a 6.
Okay, yeah. Okay, his
It was
insight.
high.
It is plus
Okay,
7. All right.
Our character's coming back to base.
What'd you get?
Right? Exactly.
I got a what was that? I think it's 21.
21.
Anyone?
Zane looks down at Grace and they meet eyes again, and he kind of gives like he squints his eyes a little bit and looks almost like confused or concerned, and then just kind of shrugs. And Grace looks at you guys and she says, well, I appreciate the lead. And again, any more help that you guys can have, if you just reach out to your staff members, they know how to get a hold of us, or you can send information directly to the church and they will relay that to us. But in the meantime, we'll be staying in Ilium, so you guys can contact us there if you really need.
I have a question, actually.
Sure, yeah.
So do you guys in the church, whatever it's called, do you guys do charity work with them orphans, maybe?
Yeah, a lot, actually. I was an orphan myself, and the church took me in, and then upon coming of age, because they're very adamant about not letting underage people, dedicate to service, once I became of age, I chose to work for the church. But we do have a orphanage-like situation in the church where they help take care of people who have lost their families.
All right. Gwen sticks out her hand. Can I have some charity? My parents are dead.
I'll let you roll persuasion with advantage because it's funny.
That's so funny.
Please.
Please.
My first one was a nat 20.
Yeah.
Roll again. If you get another
All the
nat
other
20, she
ones.
gives you 1,000 gold right now.
No.
What the?
I got a 12.
Okay. She smiles a little bit and looks around at like the lack of people now in the room. A lot of the people have filtered out. You guys notice Brooke over by the door, like watching, and a couple people stop by to ask him questions. Rosaries and actually just Rosaries, if anyone wants to jump into it, give me a perception check watching the people who like exit the door. I know you'd be interested in seeing who talks to them, so I will let you do that. Anyone who wants to can, but just delegate it out. One person can roll with advantage if you want.
I mean, I have my familiar always on the lookout, so
But in the meantime, she will reach out and she will say, consider this, an extension of an olive branch from the church to you guys, showing that we would like to set up good faith. And she will hand you a little satchel with 25 gold in it.
Fuck
Nice.
yes.
I rolled a
Thank you.
21 with advantage.
Sick. You guys are kind of like looking at people who are leaving. The ones that stick out to you guys, Leo, you notice that Lucilda like brushes off Brooke over by the door very quickly, and she like does not talk to him at all. Brooke seems to be like watching each person that leaves to see if they can find maybe Kieran is what it might be. But you guys notice a couple familiar faces go and talk to the people from the church, because it's these three and then like 2 or 3 more who don't seem to be officers, but they're just like there to help. One of them is obviously Balon Silda, who you guys know to be a member of the Piran Church. And then the one that interests you probably the most is Taz stops by. I don't think I can think of anyone else who would necessarily go through, but that would be the main 2 that stick out to you guys that you know the most. So Balon and Taz swing by. Balon seems very familiar. He like shakes Brooke's hand. Taz just talks to them very friendly, like he does with everyone else. But in the meantime, Grace says, well, if it's not proof enough, charity work is part of being in a church. Again, if you guys find anything, feel free to let us know.
All right.
She stands up, sets her chair back in, gives you guys a little bow, and then exits, putting her hand on like the small of Zane's back, and you hear them like whispering as they leave.
You gotta get that
Once I,
feeling.
like,
That
see
guy
the
seems like
amount
the
of-
ringmaster.
Once I like see them out of eye shot, I'm like, fuck that olive branch. I just wanted the money.
Sorry, still at the table.
Yeah, everybody is.
Yeah.
Okay. We're sorries. What do you think that Kaylin did that's got them chasing after him? Because I doubt they care about some murdered politician.
Well, he did mention the Breeze Hands, and they're, well, from what he said, was a criminal organization. So I don't doubt the church is using the Breeze Hands to murder their opposition and then blaming them for it. If you have to ask me, I think someone from the Breeze Hands did it, and either it was Kieran or Kieran's taking the blame because he's the odd man out.
You're smart.
It's a very good accusation. I find it weird that they would come after a first-year student so intently.
Right.
Something to be mindful of, I guess. That's all.
Yeah. Makes sense too. Make him the fall guy. He's not that experienced that it's not really not that much of a loss if he dies.
Yeah, but it is weird that the church would come after him, unless they're trying to earn good favor for solving the mystery.
That also sounds pretty like probable. They get
Either
to this
way.
politician and claim as heroes.
Yeah. Either way, we don't need to necessarily take the church's word at face value.
No. This it's gonna be strange that those people are in Ilium. Probably making inroads.
You know.
We might need to look into that.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is a very interesting start of our new semester. I'm having a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Has anyone seen Kieran?
Not since
Like
before
during
break, I'll say. You guys might have saw him like the week before break started, but since then he's been gone.
It's been like 6 weeks since I've seen him.
Yeah, it's been 6 weeks too. But and character. Marcel would say, no, I haven't contacted him either. I also believe that maybe I may because of the of their coming in, that he's somewhere else, probably hiding.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, maybe we can check in with his roommate also.
And maybe Billy might know things. They were best friends after all.
There's Billy his roommate?
Oh
No.
I really hope it.
Who
No
is
wonder
his
you'd leave
roommate?
if it was Billy.
yes, all
Wait,
family.
is-
I'd leave too.
His roommate. What was that? Was it the goblin?
Eustache, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Thatch. Okay.
yeah.
Because he ran one of bombs.
Right.
And weed. He hasn't given me
Okay.
another batch yet. I don't think he ever will.
Ian,
So-
last time
Thatch.
we actually saw Caitlin.
Who?
Caitlin? Island?
Kieran.
Kieran.
Kieran?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. He was last.
Caitlyn Jenner? I haven't seen that person in a while.
Who's that?
Before. When the semester ended.
Yeah.
So it's been at least like 3 or 4 weeks.
I could put my squirrel friends on it.
True.
How many
We can
friends
give
do you
Thatch a
have?
visit also.
Many
How many
friends.
pigeons in the skies do you see?
As numerous as the pigeons in the skies that you see.
I will say that you guys will have a little bit of time to really get this research done and make plans. But the next thing that's going to come about, and we can kind of tackle both of these at the same time, but just to give it to you guys tonight, is your first actual mission out of the school will be happening within the next 2 or 3 weeks in school. It'll probably happen like the second weekend of classes, if that makes sense. You get it from Professor Ranth, your homeroom teacher, in which you guys would be free to talk to Thatch, but I will go ahead and give you the other hook that you might need to follow right now, which is the description of the mission you guys are being sent on. And that'll give you guys, time to decide what you want to research, what you want to focus on, because maybe you want to prep for the mission, or maybe you want to figure out what's happening with Kieran. But this mission, you are being sent to the city of Brookley, which is in Ilium, like in Ilium's kingdom district area. Apparently, a lot of the people in the city, especially the fishermen, have been saying that across Lake Tyrian, there have been a lot of like strange noises and lights happening. And there's this old abandoned lighthouse that they have seen like lighting up some nights, but then upon inspecting it, most people don't find anything. That's not that bad. The part that made it worse was that recently 2 fishermen decided to go like check it out and wait throughout the night, and they never came back. And they were just gone. That happened like probably over New Year break. So people are asking the school to send a party to go deal with it, and you guys are being tasked with it. So in the meantime, you guys can decide what do you want to put your focuses toward. Prep for the mission and get as much information before doing it as possible, or see if you can't crack down and learn a little bit about what Kieran might be doing and stuff like that. But that is where we will end tonight.
Word.
That was really fun.
Word.
Really enjoyed it.
All right.
Been a while.
For our couple people at home, appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.
Also, poor Billy. Okay, full on interrogated.
He didn't do nothing
I
wrong.
don't know anything. Psh, talk.
Is Billy from Wisteria? Can we deport him?
Yes, he's from Wisteria.
Damn it.
All right, that's going to be where we end. Good night, y'all.
Deport Billy.